So this is a request for a protection order. There's been a temporary one, obviously, we all know, on behalf of Mr. Gehrig and against Mr. Raymore. And let's see, Mr. Foster, you came in last week, and Friday, it looks like Ms. Lindquist filed her notice of appearance. So Mr. Foster first, you're ready to go forward today?
Sure, Your Honor.
Okay.
I handed your clerk some exhibits.
Okay. And were those already given to Ms. Lindquist or Mr.
I
Finney?
asked her about your copy. She said we would have to deal with that now because late filing you may not take any exhibits.
Maybe. But but you've got these to the other side.
I received them this morning.
Okay, so then that's another question. Mr. Finney, Ms. Lindquist filed on Friday. Do I have a copy? I think I've got a copy in a file folder.
I got 2 declarations from Mr. Finney just this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about all that.
Do
So
you want me to give you a bench copy of my exhibits?
I thought I had that. What's this? Who's this from?
But I think that's the same
Even
thing.
more.
No,
Here,
it's,
I'll let you look.
I have a bench copy for you. Here's my exhibits I would ask.
Okay.
he's saying that's the clerk's copy. It's the same thing.
Oh, everybody gets stuff. Okay, gotcha.
I have a bench copy.
That's nice of you. Thank you. All right. We're just not used to it anymore. You know, we used to do that. And then this is from respondent. Okay.
To eliminate confusion, I did not number the exhibits
Okay.
because I didn't know where you would start.
Okay.
So can we handle that now then?
Why don't we just figure out where we are first, and then I can go back to logistics with things. All right. So then we got a notice of appearance from Ms. Lindquist. Mr. Finney's here. We got that on Friday. So is the respondent ready on behalf of Mr. Raymore?
If the court has reviewed the documents we submitted on Friday, then yes, we are ready. And Ms. Lindquist is my partner.
All right.
So we're in the same office, and it should be a notice of appearance with both of us.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's the wrong
I don't have either, but I'm not going
There
to
it
make an
is.
issue out of it.
Yeah, I sort of had to guess who was the attorney because it wasn't in the file. I was looking at things yesterday, actually. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to review any of this. It's nobody's fault. It just is a fact. I looked at things Friday and then I looked at things on Sunday and
Our response, Mr.
okay.
Raymore was served on Wednesday, I think, the 24th.
Yeah.
We submitted the response on Friday, and
Yep.
as long as the court reviewed what we submitted on Friday, we're prepared to go forward.
Okay.
What
I'm
did you-
not, unfortunately, and I feel badly about
Okay.
that. I mean, I could see where we are today if you all wanted to hold off. Because we're here till noon.
As a result of what, I got some documents after work hours on Friday.
Okay.
My client made a response to those, and some of the exhibits that he had filed with the petition were out of order. So what you have there are some of the exhibits that were filed and new ones that were in response to what we received. After
Well,
work
here,
hours Friday.
this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to call some other cases, see where we are. Likely, if all these people aren't going to appear, I just have 2 cases here that have both sides present. So, and then I'd take a break, kind of review everything
Sure.
they filed. But while I got you, Mr. Foster, you're telling me I should renumber things, and why don't we do that? and
Absolutely.
Before I lose you and. I'm starting to think that maybe we've got a lot of information here. I want to give it the attention it deserves, and I don't think I can. What's everybody's, we do these on Mondays, 9:00. Expect to spend the morning at worst case scenario. What does everybody's calendar look like to set this over so work can be ready? And there's no blame here. It's just these things happen fast. Everyone's got to prepare fast. I looked at everything Friday and Sunday and I didn't, have all this, and now I've got a lot. So
Are you thinking a week, Your Honor?
whatever we've got.
Oh,
what
wait,
does it look
wait a
like?
minute. Because it's summer vacation, when are you done?
So, I have,
Well, talk to your attorney about it and both of you figure it out, what days you're not available or available, but Monday's coming up and we're going to look at our calendar.
Would we need to be on a Monday, or can it be
Yep.
later this week?
It's a Monday,
Okay.
Monday mornings. So if you can, you're looking at dates. So what I'm concerned about is everything that comes in this week for a temporary restraining order, if we grant those, they're all set to the 12th, and we've already got 6, and you just never know. We overbook in hopes. So then we're looking at the 26th of August.
Well, another issue is leaving this emergency order in place, which we strenuously object to, and I can delve into that. I'm assuming you don't
Well,
want to hear
I
that
can
right now.
imagine, yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's already been in place for 2 weeks, even though we didn't know about it.
Mhm.
So we don't want it left in place.
Right.
We're fine moving forward on what was submitted Friday and nothing else. Otherwise, I'm available on the 5th and the 12th. The 19th, we're in trial on issues related to this.
So that reminds me, So RSW 7105050 tells me that
Mhm.
if, and I couldn't divine that Mr. Raymore is involved in that litigation in Superior Court. He's not a party.
He's a witness, that's all.
He's a witness. Okay. So then the next question is, if I issue this order, would it interfere with the care, custody, and control of any children, any contact with children of the mom, you know, by the mom of these kids or by Mr. Greg? Good.
He's not a custodial parent, Your Honor.
No, he's not.
But so is,
He's not a relative. He's not related.
okay, so he's not living with or in a relationship or anything with the mom of the kids,
No,
such that visitation,
it wouldn't, it would not
Okay.
impact it. He has daily contact with the kids, but not in any parenting plan.
okay,
type
and if I
situation.
issued an order, it wouldn't interfere with visitation or custody
No.
issues with, all right, good. All right, well, then that answers those questions.
But my
I
client's
think
not
we're in the
available
right
until
place.
the 26th. I want to make sure that you
All right.
understand.
So 19th is the Superior Court case that you're both representing
Between-
your clients,
Yeah,
right? Mr., one more time, let me get your name
Gorig.
right. Gorig. Thank you. All right, I'll get that right. All right, and so when is that? Starting at 9 all day?
19th.
Starting the 19th, yeah, the week of the 19th.
The week of the 19th. So
That's all we know. It's the week of the 19th.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
When do you know?
Last
Thursday
minute.
before that.
Well, you know, just for fun, why don't we try for the 19th? And then if not, we'll put it on the 26th. Because if things go off, I mean, I don't know how Superior Court works, but I have a feeling they overbook as well and try and get things done.
But they
But-
frequently will tell us if we don't get Monday. that happens
yeah,
all
but
the
at
time.
least you'll know by Thursday.
Pardon?
And then you know by Thursday before, and then you
Well,
could let the court
Well,
know.
sometimes they don't let us know till Friday. I
Well,
know it's supposed to be Thursday, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
Friday.
well, you could let us know.
Yep.
Somebody could let us know, and then we'd know for sure. But if we set it on the 19th and then bottom falls out and Superior Court says no, then we'll set it the 26th, no
So
matter what
the case is
caseload
assigned
is.
to you. So do you have a JA that
It's not that, we're not that sophisticated in
Sophisticated.
district court. We have one JA
how do
among
we
all of
communicate
us.
with you then through your administration?
All you don't have to. All you need to do is contact the civil department. Let us know. Kayla, Chase, Justin's the head of the civil department. He's one of our managers.
Although this will end on that date, so.
Let's keep it in it. I'll make an order that reflects that if it's not held on the 19th, the order continues to the 26th and we'll set it on the 26th, no matter the caseload. That's the plan. If we have to cancel the 19th. So I'll just make this order.
Because I have to put it in the system with an expiration date, otherwise the order expires.
20,
So I would
put
have
it
to
in the
do for
26th. That's a good idea. And then set it for the 19th.
Your Honor, what are the probabilities of the bench copy of your exhibits being around on the 19th as opposed to nobody knows where they are?
Oh, they'll be here. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're not like King County,
it.
like Pierce County. Here it is, you know, and I'll just hang on to
I
it,
wouldn't
frankly.
have the fortitude to accuse you of that, Your Honor, or your department.
No,
Your
I
system.
know, I know. Having worked in lots of different courts, I know just what you're saying.
Okay.
So, let's see, let me write this order up. What I'm doing is reissuing it. I'm going to say that it's effective. This will say it's effective through the 19th if we have a hearing. If not, then through the 26th at the end of that hearing.
And I want to make a record, Judge, I'm not arguing with the court, but I
Okay.
want to make a record that I am strenuously objecting to continuing the emergency order in place beyond today.
All right.
Let alone for another, 2-3 weeks. It should be 2 weeks from the date of issuance. We're past that now.
Mhm.
Extending it beyond this, I think is an inappropriate restriction on my client's freedom. And I think it's also harmful to the children. He has daily contact with these kids and has since they were born virtually.
And is that just because the parents allow it?
It allow, encourage,
Okay.
he's as close to them as their parents are, I think is fair to say.
And how old are the children?
The one in question that's part of this order is 8.
All right, and that's the only
Emily.
child, so there are other kids.
There are other
But
kids
there's
that
only
aren't part of
Emily
this
is the
order. Yeah.
issue.
So that is a true
Alright.
situation, Your Honor, until something extremely out of the order has recently surfaced. That is of great concern to my client. It should be of the court of activity of Mr. Raymore that is very concerning.
So, and the
Well-
Superior Court's going to make some decisions about Emily.
Yes,
I don't know how much they're going to concern Mr. Raymore, I guess. I don't know what jurisdiction or power they would have over him in family law. I don't know family law.
They
So-
won't.
It's really the
it's not about-
parents that make those decisions. So,
They certainly can't make
Right.
decisions regarding her.
so the Superior Court can make decisions about third-party contact with her.
Absolutely.
Well, they can restrict the parents from allowing.
There you go. That's
Contact,
how it
sure.
would be done. I understand that. So a little dicey about making any decisions about a child that I don't have control over.
Well, the
and
child is,
being
I mean,
conflicting order.
certainly removing the child from this order, I think would be appropriate at this point. The parents, there's no suggestion that Mr. Raymore would intercede where the parents have restricted him.
Let's see.
Your
She
Honor,
is in the
you made a
order.
ruling. There's,
I haven't made a ruling yet. You know, we're talking about this order and she is part of this order. I'm a little concerned about, are there any orders?
there's
Mr.
a parenting
Foster?
plan from Superior Court, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with, is the summer parenting plan now.
I mean,
Okay.
the fact is, Mr. Gorig got this order 2 weeks ago. He served it a few days
One
ago.
person at a time. So let me hear from you first, because this is your objection, and then I'll jump to Mr. Foster. I asked a few questions to both of you, and that was my fault. But so, Mr. Finney, then you're worried about contact with Emily, your client's contact with Emily mostly?
Yes, so I have a couple of concerns. One is that just in general, this order shouldn't be, an emergency order shouldn't be in place for a month without some substantive hearing on the facts. Second, I think that it's very clear to me, and I think to any objective observer, that Dr. Gorig is trying to influence what's happening in the trial in this case on the 19th. And leaving this order in place, I'm sure he's going to raise that as an issue, that there's a restraining order against this witness at trial. So I think it's inappropriate for that reason. Third, this man, Mr. Raymore, has daily contact with Emily, and extending this for a month is going to be harmful to her. Fourth, this order was put in place a couple of weeks ago. There's, to my knowledge, and for the court record, Dr. Gorig hasn't made any attempt to serve this until a few days ago. So he could have done this in a time period which would have presented all of the evidence to the court so that it could be resolved today. He didn't do that. He did this a few days ago, which is why we're in this situation. So asking that it be extended for another 3+ weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, I think, violates the rule on emergency orders and is inappropriate, and it's caused by his neglect in getting this timely served. So I don't think it should be extended at all.
There was no untimely service whatsoever. He was out of state. He was served 9 days, certainly within the parameter. He was not available to be served before that date. And it's using the argument that he's doing this for strategy for the trial that's upcoming. That's an obvious thing to say, but it's a bunch of malarkey. His sole and exclusive reason for doing this is what has transpired with Emily, secret communications with Mr. Raymore, messages that will disappear after 24 hours. She's the only one that has this secret method of communicating with him. He will refuse. He did not say anything to Dr.
So
Gorig
about
about
keeping
it.
this order in effect, though, for 3 some more weeks, I mean, that's the objection here with, and I know he kind of detailed what the objections are and advantage of trial. I'm not the one who can, I don't find that persuasive. Service, I don't find that persuasive. Harming Emily, is there any, and I'm still hearing this parenting plan, I don't know, but maybe it's going to be coming up there about contact with third parties. And I am not inclined to step into making a conflicting order with Superior Court. So, Mr. Foster, I guess I have 2 questions for you. One is, respondent is saying this is going to harm Emily if this emergency order stays in effect, so take Emily out of the order at very least. Otherwise, also, just generally, these things shouldn't stay in effect very long. Get rid of this order and have a hearing about it later. So on behalf of your client.
He's extremely concerned about the effects of Emily. What's going to happen with Emily is not being absent from Mr. Raymore, but what he has been telling her. That's what is going to be extremely harmful. The bio mom doesn't want to get involved with the relationship here. She says, you deal it with Mr. Raymore, and he's secretive about it. He's very concerned about this. This has been going on a while. When he finds out about it, he took appropriate action. He called the police. The police said, well, there's nothing we can do. You get a protection order. That's what he has done. He's trying to protect his daughter from these secret communications. It's highly unusual. I've never seen this. There's 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl, and the youngest is Emily. Why all this secret stuff with her? Not the other children, just
So
the
let
secret
me ask you,
communication
so
with her.
is the Superior Court, so it sounds like the Superior Court's taking up Emily. They could potentially have an order. I don't know. They could make a decision about third parties.
Sure.
They could make decisions about parents allowing contact with kids by a third party. So, now we're to the district court. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this order. I'm taking Emily out of this order. I'm going to keep this order in effect concerning Mr. Gorig and Mr. Raymore. And then, I think I'd be intruding and potentially making a conflicting order as to Emily, and I'm not allowed to do that. So I don't think that's appropriate now that we know more, that there is a suit going on about these kids parenting. So that's where it's going to rest. We'll have an order still. Mr. Gorig, Mr. Raymore, you all don't have contact by district court order. The parents are going to take care of Emily, and the Superior Court's going to take care of
What the
Emily.
trial is about, Your Honor, is relocation. I don't know if you know that.
Well, the
I don't
parenting
know
plan will
what that
include
is.
everything.
Yeah, I don't know what Superior Court's trial is about, and I haven't, I'm guessing that, and I'm hearing that it's parenting now.
It is.
So, and that's why, RSW 7105050 tells me do not start making conflicting orders with other courts. Do not intrude, in this way. Mr. Raymore is not a party to that, but obviously the parents' contact with him and allowing contact with their kids is a big whoop. So Superior Court's going to figure that out. And I'm not to intrude on that because I don't have those powers. And now that I know more. So the order will stay in effect. It's going to be up to the Superior Court. It's going to be up to Mr. Gorig, up to the mother of these kids to make decisions until the Superior Court talks about Emily.
All right.
All right. And I think also, so let me write up this order. As I said, this will be in effect until the end of the hearing on the 19th. If we don't have a hearing on the 19th, it's in effect until the end of the hearing on the 26th. So keep both those on your calendars. Somebody call the court, one or both of you,
Sure.
or email, whatever works for you, the civil department, and tell my clerks we're on, we're off on the 19th, or when you know.
No problem.
So let me get this, and then we'll get this out to each of you. And I'm just going to say, if you could, then if there's anything else for me to consider, let's get it in. The Monday before. Let's see. Just say, being realistic. If you could get it in by the 14th of August, get it in 5 days before, put it that way.
What
whichever.
is,
So if there's anything more to
Additional
file, or you can either file it electronically, you can drop it off at the civil department, whatever works for you.
you mean his concern over Emily?
No, if there's anything more before our hearing, that's all I'm
Exhibits,
saying.
okay.
Yeah, it's in our way. If there's anything more, then just get it in 5 days before the hearing. So that would be the 14th or the 21st, get it in, depending on when our hearing is.
14th and 21st by 5 o'clock,
Yeah, well, I think your window closes at 4:30.
4:30.
4:30.
August 14 at 4:30.
Yeah,
you. Any
so 5
additional
days
exhibits?
before. Anything else? If there's something other, I think you both know you're going to provide it to each other.
Yes, of course.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So let's take up Lani Duran's request for this order first. I see that Mr. Gallegos was served in court on July 1st for this hearing. I see also that there is an order out of Thurston County District Court, the criminal side, pending trial. Just you realize that, right?
When we attended court last, when Mr. Gallegos did attend, that was my first awareness that there was an order that was put in place. It sounds like automatically on the criminal side. I don't know how long that, like it says it expires 2099, but that's obviously not realistic. And
It's in effect only if there's as it goes through pretrial, and if there's a trial, and if he's convicted, the court reconsiders, whether this should be an order or not. If he's convicted of it, it's highly likely that order is going to continue. But you're right, it's only in effect as long as the criminal case is in effect, and the decisions of the prosecuting attorney are really what govern there. If the case is dismissed or something, then the court no longer has authority to have an order in that case. But just so you kind of know, this order is your efforts, and a temporary order was issued already. So Mr. Gallegos is not present. He was given notice. It's 9:45. He was given notice to be here at 9. He's not here through an attorney. Are you asking for an order to issue in his absence?
I am, Your Honor. He has since moved out, and as volatile as he is in his behavior, lady.
Just in your house, you say move out or in the apartment.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Above or
so
below.
I actually feel a little bit less safe because he knows where I live and he was evicted as a result of him being arrested in this incident.
You don't have to justify. You've already written your petition and we've already issued a temporary order. I may want to hear a little bit more from, this is your daughter, right? Yeah. So let me finish this order and then I'll turn to your daughter because that temporary order wasn't issued and I just may have a couple of questions. But I will continue this, or I will issue an order now in his absence, finding he had personal service and notice of this hearing today and has decided, can make that decision. He's decided not to be present. And this order is really long. It's like 12 pages and I'm pretty used to it, but I still have to look through it. So just, I'm going to look at this for a moment. So just give me that. And this will mirror or be the same as your temporary order. And if it being the same, then you don't have to serve him again because the portions of this order are all the same. So he has notice already.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so Lani Duran, then this order, I'm keeping it in effect for a year, August 1st, it will expire. So what that means is if you think the court should reissue this order, we need you to come back to the court. Be sure to get anytime within 3 months of its expiration. So that would be May 1st. I think that's right. Yeah. And ask the court to have a hearing to consider that. Make sure you don't show up the week before because then the order will expire before we can get a hearing. So give a good month, make sure if you want it in effect, protect your interests. But that's where it is. It's the same. I've changed the distance to 1,000 because he no longer lives there. So that's not necessary. That's the only change. So since there is a change, you may need to think about having him served, but essentially is notice from the, what's that? Oh, is that the other one? Thanks. Notice from the previous. Then let me, if I could talk to Emily or Emilia, then that would be helpful.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I get her name spelled right. All right, so now we're taking up your request for an order under case 24204. And the court did not issue a temporary order. And be sure we're spelling your name right, Emelia. All right. And you're 18 now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And so you're still living at that apartment with your mom? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, and did you wish the court to consider issuing an order to protect you from Mr. Gallegos?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, in your petition, I did see that before the event, let me just recall for myself. There it is. Before the event of him coming up, pounding on the door, threatening your mom to shoot her, calling her vulgar names, and well, you were there too, caused the police to be called. Before that event, you said you were walking your dog. Can you tell me about what happened there?
Yes, so I was walking my dog, and there has been previous issues with my dog and him, because my dog barks a lot, but he has called my dog racist before, which I think is a little out there. But I was walking my dog and I was about to go back through the corridor up the steps to where I live. And I heard people walking through the corridor, so I stopped. And I see Caleb and his wife walking out. The wife was holding their newborn baby, and Caleb was in full military uniform. And the wife made it all the way to their vehicle, and Caleb was still kind of by the corridor entrance. And he was yelling, "Did you grab the gun? Did you get the gun? Did you grab the gun?" And I wasn't shocked and a little bit scared considering he has some issues with my dog, and I'm confused because his wife is holding a newborn baby, as well as if it's his military issued gun, she shouldn't be touching it whatsoever. And so I felt a little scared to go back through the corridor because Caleb went back to his apartment and I waited for him to come back downstairs and I never saw him come back downstairs, so I didn't know what to do. So I called my mom and my mom had to come downstairs and then we walked up the stairs together because I didn't know where Caleb went. I don't know if I went to go try to walk through the corridor, if he was going to open the door right then and there because I live directly above him, so I would have to pass his front door. And it felt terrifying to hear someone yell, "Did you grab the gun?" multiple times to someone.
So before that event, then, before you say there was something, had he made any comments to you about that would make you believe that I'm trying to figure out, well, tell me before then, any conversations, anything from him directed at you that had something to do with this, or your dog, or a gun, or anything?
I mean, I'm the primary person that walks her dog, and to have someone tell me, one, that my dog is racist, considering dogs can't see color, and he's a dog, and then also to be outside and then hearing someone who's asking, "Did you grab the gun?" I don't know if maybe he genuinely forgot it, or maybe if he was trying to put some fear into me and yelling out loud that he has a gun. I think it's even a little bit more scary considering a whole week later he came and threatened my mom and to shoot her. I mean, he was asking his wife who's holding a newborn baby if she grabbed the gun.
We've also opened the door.
All right. So kind of in concert, you're saying, with that event, previous event of him commenting about your dog, and then the culminating event that caused your mom and you to come to court, and you were home when all that happened, if I remember correctly, when he was, yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to say that there's sufficient evidence here, Emilia Duran, that I'm going to issue a temporary or an order against Mr. Gallegos. Same thing. It's in effect till August 1st of 2024. Let me look at this order. I'll get it filled out. All of this will be available to both of you in the court file by Zoom instructions, or do we send these out to them via email or not? No.
I mean, they usually get it in their file, but they're.
Okay. All right. So if you can't get into the court's file through Zoom instructions and that's too much for you, then just contact the court. One of my clerks will work with you. But that's where I'm going to direct you to. So give me a second, though, to get through, more than a second, to get through this order and make sure it's right. And then I'll turn back to you. All right. So either of the Durans, any questions?
Not that I have, Your Honor. No.
All right. Does your mom have any questions?
Mom, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. That's it for today. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Your notice of appearance on Friday on behalf of Mills. And Mr. You were going to be, I have a question for you here, and I don't know. And Ms. Mills is now present by Zoom. I see her there. And I see that Mr. Whitford, you weren't able to perfect service yet. Is that right?
Mr. Whitford, Your Honor, by the time I came on this case, there was, I think, 4 or 5 days left before service could be done. I figured that there was going to need to be a new hearing date set, and that if we paid to have Greyhound Legal do the process servicing at this point, we would just have to do it again with notice of the new court date, plus with notice of my appearance. So for that reason, Your Honor, I instructed my client that it was going to be necessary to ask for a continuance so that service could be perfected.
Then I have a question for you, Mr. Van Vechten. I'm worried about jurisdiction, and maybe this is something that needs to be answered in another hearing, but if all this happened on, there's a lot of, I don't know which tribe, I can't remember. Ms. Mills, what tribe is it?
She's a member of the Puyallup Nation. The protected party is a member of a tribe out in Montana. And this is taking place at Frank's Landing, which is an independent Native community that is not a reservation and is not belonging to Nisqually or Puyallup people, but provides a school that is open for all Indigenous people. It's a strange third form of jurisdiction that I'm just learning about myself, Your Honor. There's only a few of these places in the world, but it was something that was created by the United States Congress basically as a gift to the late Billy Frank.
So, okay. So you can divine what I'm wondering is, do I have jurisdiction to make any decisions about activity on that? Or do the tribes have that
Well,
power?
there is no court at Frank's Landing for this to be heard, and the Puyallup and the Nisqually tribes would not be asserting jurisdiction over it. And I think you might have noticed in the petition that there's mention that there's an ongoing issue in Thurston County Superior Court over a claim as to who is the rightful authority over this. So at least the parties have
Okay.
recognized that somehow Thurston County Superior has the authority to determine who is rightfully in charge in this strange situation. So I assume then that if that's the position of the parties, that the district court would have, this is not a domestic violence situation. This is not a sexual assault protection order. It seems to me as a clear anti-harassment situation. And so I do think you have
Okay.
jurisdiction.
It's an interesting puzzle. I'm now understanding better. Then my next question comes up, and you can divine your client before you got involved filed it here in district court. But RCWS 7105050 tells me that if, and you can only answer this question, I must transfer this to Thurston County Superior Court if they've exerted their exercising jurisdiction over the parties. And so I understand that your client is part of a suit and Mr. Whitford is part of
My
that or
underst-
not?
I looked it up on Thurston County Odyssey, and when I can recall, Your Honor, Mr. Whitford has named 14 defendants in a lawsuit in Thurston County Superior Court, alleging that they do not have the rightful authority to fire him. So
File. He's
What?
a party. Then did he name your client as a party?
he did, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is the deal. And that's filed in Superior Court and you got things going there.
So I'm not representing her. I work for Puyallup Tribe Legal Aid, and we are not going to get involved in a nation's dispute as to who is in charge of this property. That's not our job. That's not our place. But if we have a
Okay.
member of the Puyallup Nation who is being threatened by a member of any nation,
Yeah.
I do have the right to defend the individual for protection order purposes, etc. It didn't seem that
All
this
right.
was a good fit for Thurston County Superior because we're not alleging domestic violence or sexual assault or anything of that nature.
That's right, but I must transfer it, I think. And so the order would stay in effect, but I would have to transfer it. And if you have a case number for Superior Court, that would be helpful because I'm not seeing that anywhere that I can divine, maybe in the pleading somewhere. But that's what, if they've exercised jurisdiction over the parties in whatever way, I have to send it up there for them to make the decisions, but the order would stay in effect.
Let me find that order for you, Your Honor, that case number.
Okay.
I will not be involved in this power struggle decision, but I am involved in
Yeah.
ensuring that my client's personal safety is ensured.
Okay, and that's, all right, so that's what I'm finding here. This is, so do you have a transfer order? We're gonna create a transfer order.
I don't
And we
see
need
it
to get
either, Your
that-
Honor.
Okay, if you could dig around and find that. Do you, Ms. Mills, do you know the case, the Superior Court case number that you've been sued under?
I don't have it with me at the time, but I do have it at my house.
I've seen it, Your Honor, and I was able to research the case on that basis, but I'm not seeing the names now here.
Is there, Ms. Mills, is there someone you can contact or maybe another person who's named that might be able to help you this morning with that?
I could drive home and get it right now.
Well, don't start driving, we're talking. How long do you think that would take?
5 minutes.
Okay, we can come back. Turn off your
Okay.
camera. Don't drive with this on. All right, stop, turn it all off, and then we'll see you in 5 minutes. Unless you find it first, Mr. Van Vicken.
I'll
And my
continue,
clerk
Your
is having to find the right order, so we're all kind of doing things. So don't worry.
So, Your Honor, if it's transferred, it still is going to require a new court date, which we would have to serve with notice. Is Your
Yeah,
Honor,
Yeah, my clerk's going to have to be in touch with Thurston County Superior Court, find that out, and then we'll finish the order, put it in Zoom, and you can access it or contact the clerks and they can get it to you if you have trouble there. So I'm looking at this order right now. It's going to take a little bit. We'll get it, and then you'll finally get it, and then you'll have to reserve the order, transferring the petition, all of that information.
Your Honor, I see that in the petition on page 5, it says, see Thurston County cause number 24-2-025.
Good catch. I was just getting there. Thank you. 24-2. That's a good number. 34. All right. I'm going to put that in my order.
The vision that Your Honor has is that in this case, which I don't know, it looks like it's a request for they filed an injunction. I don't know what honestly to describe what I understand the legal situation is here. It seems like they're asking Thurston County Superior Court to determine who the legitimate government is of an independent Indian community.
Yeah.
So I have filed a notice of appearance to specifically just deal with a protection order matter by filing under this cause number. I just want to make sure that's very clear that I'm not getting involved in the constitutional issue that's behind all of this.
I mean, this case is ending here in district court, so whatever happens, you can file those documents with Superior Court. I think that's probably appropriate to give them notice why you're not there, or why you're not, and then talk to your client. But, you know, this case is going up there.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that all things go. I mean, that's the decisions of the clients and the attorneys. We're just gonna have to get a court date, like I said. Oh, that's right. Ooh. So we'll get a court date. We'll have a, I mean, you decide what the limits of your help to Ms. Mills is. That's your decision. But I know that RCW 7105050 requires me to send this up there because they're exercising jurisdiction over the parties and they can make these decisions as well. They have obviously jurisdiction over any kind of order. I'm more limited in certain orders, but this is appropriate to be heard here, but not anymore because of that edict under the law. So let me, you're gonna have to put the date in here. I'll kind of arrow that for you. Yeah. And I don't know if it's via Zoom or not, so I'll take that out. That's where you get to add things. And then,
Did we find the right case number?
hi, Ms. Mills. Did you not find it? I saw it in your petition. I'm just hoping it's right.
We found it, Your Honor. It is correct.
We did.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I was just making.
Is it correct then? The 24-2-02515-34?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. All right. So, Ms. Mills, then I'm transferring this case to, whoops, we lost her. There she is. You still with us, Ms. Mills? Okay.
Yes,
Transferring this case, I'm transferring this case to Superior Court, referencing that cause number that's already been started with jurisdiction over the two of you. They'll make whatever decisions they need to make and we'll get a court date, but we don't have it now. And my clerk will file all of this in the court's file here, the district court's file, and it's accessible there. He'll need to be reserved with notice of that court date.
The email, we have I sent a message for them.
Okay, a chat you sent to me. So you'll get a chat, Ms. Mills, Mr. Van Vechten, for email. So Mr. Van Vechten, we can just send you by email all the new documents. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. Any questions, Mr. Van Vechten?
Yes, Your Honor. Do we have any discretion in when the court date will be set, or will just a date be set before?
I have no control.
Right.
I'm sorry. And I don't know. I could put something in this order that you're not available a certain time. Is that the problem?
Oh, I'm frequently unavailable, but I guess we'll just figure it out. I request that the the petitioner's counsel be contacted before a date is set. Would be ideal if that means anything to Superior Court.
I don't know. I don't know.
We'll find out.
I think we'll just get a date and then you need to do your thing, or council needs to do their thing about continuance or not, or what. So
Gotcha.
Sorry, they help you there.
All right.
I think we got it. Ms. Mills, just look to Mr. Van Vechten for any questions you have, and that's it for today.
Thank you.
Thanks for both of you. All right, so long. Okay. So I see that Mr. Hand was served, but do you know who a Romero Topiti or Topoto?
Person that served him was that's the person an employee at the Nisqually jail, who I gave the paperwork to.
Okay, so all right, that's what I anticipated. Okay, and I have a question. How you say that you've got patience because you were given custody. How are you given custody?
Well,
Go ahead.
Or
thank you. Please
either
let me
way.
answer. My sister had abandoned her child.
But was there a court involved?
Yes, courts involved. My
Which
sister
court?
signed over her rights, and I do
Which-
have the paperwork.
Okay, let me see that, because that should have actually been filed to tell me that I have jurisdiction or not.
I realized this yesterday that I should have filed.
I
I'm so
know.
sorry.
It's okay.
We have court, family court. We have so many courts and things going
Yeah.
on right now.
So is anything going on concerning patients in the Superior Court right now?
We just petitioned the family court for change of visitation. So,
Okay.
and we have court for that on Friday.
So that would involve you and Mr. Ratcliffe?
Me, possibly, he hasn't gone to any of the court dates yet, but he is on the paperwork.
Okay.
Me, Mr. Ratcliffe, Patience, and her mom. And Lonnie is not
Okay.
involved in that. He's not related to any of us.
Okay, that's the answer to my question there. He's just a boyfriend, they're not married.
Yes, correct.
Okay, or on and off, okay.
Would you like this right now?
Yeah, it'd be good for me to review what you got from Superior Court in total, so I can see that you do in fact have control, kind of, yeah. Okay. Is this a copy? Well, let's see if we need it, okay. Do you have something do you have the guardianship order? Probably say guardianship order or something to that effect on the top.
I don't think I do.
Dig through your stuff, help me out.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Okay, find something.
I don't, because most of the stuff I brought is pertaining to this case. I didn't bring anything else pertaining to the case for Friday.
Are you able to look at any of those kind of, if I gave you a cause number, can you?
You're right, that's strange. I wonder why my name is not on there.
This cause number. With that, see if you can dig some up. There we go. Okay, now I'm looking in JABS, which is Judicial Access Program, and I see that you have been appointed guardian. I'm looking at the docket for 23-4-31234, and that helps me order appointed guardian, and it's you. So, all right, I'm good to go. You have the ability to have some control over patients at 16. How old is she now? 17?
17.
Yeah, okay. And this is a copy for us? You've got one?
Yes, I have one.
All right,
I
we're
still
gonna-
have one with me.
Keep that in the court file. That's important. It's two-sided, so it's gonna be a hassle to scan. All right. All right. So I do see that he was served on July 15th, and we are here after 10:20. Scheduled this for 9. He's not present. No one's here present representing him. We have time to check one last time if we have any contact. No contact from him. So you're asking for this temporary order to become a full order here against him. Okay, and I see you nodding yes?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Eckler too? Okay. All right, so there's basis to do that, so I will. And let me get, what I'm looking at is my court file electronically here and your the order,
What are you looking for?
the order.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Full order.
Yeah. Thanks. We'll get there. Fix it. That's why I have Kayla. She's amazing. All right, let's see. So this order will mirror match the temporary order, and so therefore, it's going to protect patients and Aubrey, and I'm going to set this in effect until August 1st of next year. So if you think that you want it longer than that, it's closing. If you think you need the court to reissue it for longer, you'll need to contact the court within 3 months of its expiration. So by May 1st. Make sure you don't come in 2 weeks, 1 week before. It's going to expire by the time we get a hearing set.
Yes.
So definitely count on being here in June if you think that's what you need to do, June of 2025.
Okay.
And if not, it just expires August 1st. And let me get through, it's like 12 pages. We'll give you a copy today before you leave, but let me just pay attention to this so I get it right, and then I'll turn back to you both if you have questions. This order was designed to kind of serve both Superior Court's function and District Court's function. And so there are all sorts of issues in here about custody and interface that I don't have authority over. Obviously, the Superior Court is doing that. So it would be sensible, I think, of you to file a copy of this with your Superior Court case.
That's what I was going to do
Give
after we leave.
Okay, and is DSHS involved at all?
Not yet, but I have a feeling they're about to be with the paperwork I just filled out. There was a lot of
Okay.
DCYF things in the paper.
Have a copy available for whoever shows up there. I mean, you know, those are the kind of things that you want to do and make sure.
Make sure I have extra copies when I go to court next time.
Right.
I hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think I got it straight here. We'll give you a copy of this. And if you want to, you'll stamp it as, you know, certified or whatever. Okay. So just a moment to do that.
You're spot on.
Knudsen. Okay, good. All right. This is all about a temporary order that was issued on behalf of Ms. Chilson, ex parte, of course, without Ms. Knudsen. And now we're here to talk about that. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on and has everything you need. So, Ms. Knudsen, how'd you know to be here today?
I was served by a deputy officer last Wednesday, probably around like.
Okay.
He
All
came to
right.
my home.
And so what did you get? Did you get something called a petition?
Yeah, he gave me the packet
Called
that was
the
sent from the
petition?
court. Yeah, the petition, her copy of the letter she wrote, pictures, and then how to log into the Zoom and all that stuff.
Okay, so you got 3 pictures.
Yeah, and a copy of a letter written by her roommate, and then the copy of her packet she filled out, and then the packet sent from the court. And then I also have a revised email from the revisal of the footage that, or the feet distance that was taken off of our next door neighbors.
Yeah, that wasn't sensible. So you may have more than the court has. I don't have a letter, but we'll talk about that. So you got all that. So first off, Ms. Knudsen, are you prepared to go forward today to defend this request?
Yeah, I would like to see it dismissed or either some revised.
Slow down. I'm just wanting to be sure you're ready, that you've had a chance to look at it. You're not worried about hiring a lawyer. You don't have any other witnesses or other statements or other information you want the court to consider that isn't here today.
I mean, I have neighbors and landlord and teacher statements from everybody in my neighborhood, but I wasn't sure how to present that today, being that I was there on Zoom and not physically in the courtroom. So
what I'm going to go on is what I've got from Ms. Chilson, and I'll hear from both of you verbally, you know, and take it from there. But if you think, you know, I mean, I can go forward today and I'm happy to do that. You're both here, but these things happen fast for a reason. We issue an order, you weren't there. You need, you know, we don't want things to go on for a long time before you have an opportunity to be heard and decision to be made if the order continues. But so that's why things happen fast. But that also puts people sometimes at a disadvantage if they feel like there's something they need that would be persuasive, they think, for the court to consider in response to this. And that's why I always ask that if you're ready or not. If you're ready, we can go. If not, we can set this, we do this every Monday. So Ms. Knudsen, what's your point of view on that?
I mean, I feel comfortable defending myself going forward. I have enough facts that I feel that, you know, can get us through this.
Okay. Ms. Chilson, are you still asking for this order?
Honestly, I made a point not to press charges on her. I made a point. I'm happy with the amendment. Are you still
asking for this order? Okay. And are you ready to go today?
That's fine. Yes.
Not fine, but are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now I've got your petition. Did you file a letter with your petition that I'm not seeing here?
Just whatever's on there.
Yeah, I'm looking at your exhibits and all I have is, there it is. Okay. I do have the letter, excuse me. Got the photos, 3 photos and a letter. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with Ms. Chilson, hear from her, then I'm going to jump over to Ms. Knudsen and hear from her, and then I'll make a decision. You know, I'm not jumping back and forth and people aren't interrupting each other. I mean, the lawyers that you probably saw earlier, I'm going to have to corral them a lot better at the next hearing. You know, they keep popping off. That's not what I expect. So one person at a time. So Ms. Chilson, I've had a chance to look at what your petition and the letter and the pictures, and those pictures are of you?
Yes.
When were they taken?
The day after.
What's that mean?
July 18th.
Around July 18th. And somebody else took them?
No, I took them.
You took them, you did a selfie of your arms?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I'm looking at, your arms?
Yes.
Okay, just so we all know.
Shoulder and arms.
Okay. An elbow? Maybe inside of an elbow?
Yes.
And then
forearm.
that's the back of the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
and back, kind of upper back of the shoulder.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Got that. And then we open that again. Just trying to evaluate what we've got here so we all know. And then the letter that we have from, I'm trying to print this out. Eric Bennett?
Yes.
Okay. And who's Eric Bennett?
He is my roommate. He is also my tenant.
Okay, so he lives in same house or is in cellar?
Yes.
Okay, same physical building.
Yes.
All right. And how long you known him?
I have known him for 11 years.
Okay. All right, so you came to the court finally after an incident from July 17, but there were incidents that go way back to this February of this year and December of last year.
Yes.
I got that straight? Okay. So you say that in December of 2023, Ms. Knudsen came onto your property, threatened to burn it down.
Yeah, she
spit at you on that day?
No, she there was something with a DoorDash driver. She assumed that there was something dealing going on, but it was just a DoorDash driver. We weren't aware of the what was happening with the DoorDash driver. She threw herself over my fence after her husband and the other neighbor came over banging on my door. We showed them the receipt. We showed them the food and pretty much just threw it back at us.
That was December 2023.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she just started throwing my garbage cans around my yard, screaming at me. And then she threatened to burn my house down with me and my kids in it. I didn't choose to do anything about that because it was just outlandishly weird. The second incident, I don't remember the date. She came knocking, banging on my door, screaming about my dog who was sleeping in the back of my house at the time. Threatened me with a golf club and then threatened to kill my dog. This last time, my roommate went out and
did you say? I don't remember you saying that in your petition about threatening to kill your dog. What did she say? What did Ms. Knudsen say?
She said my dog came on her property and attacked her dog and bit her children, which he didn't. He was in my house. I have many witnesses saying he was in the house. It was another dog. She just assumed it was mine. This last time,
So continue to tell me what she said when you say
she said your dog came over to my property, bit my children, and I hit you, bring me your dog, I'm gonna kill it.
Okay.
She just has had this, she was on my porch.
So on your porch, so on the way anyone would come to your house to deliver a package or visit?
Yes, she was on my porch.
All right. All right. And then, but on the December event, you say she came over the fence?
Yeah, she rolled
so
herself.
Tell me about the fence. How big is it? What is it?
It's a chain link size fence. Just out of nowhere, she just threw herself, completely rolled herself over the fence, landed in my yard.
All right.
Just screaming about a drug deal, which I don't do that. And then she starts getting more and more frustrated. I don't remember much about the fight. We've never had problems before this, actually. I mean, we were 90% of the time we just don't really interact. I don't go to her house. She never comes to my house. It was very strange. And then she just got angry, started throwing my garbage cans around, knocking them over, dumping stuff out, and then she left. I don't know. I heard after that there was the incident with the DoorDash driver, had the police called. I'm not sure of that one. I had no idea about that. I was very confused. She assumed it was somebody else and thought they were dropping.
Well, you don't know.
That's what she told me.
Okay. Well, that's what, all right.
Yeah.
So December 23rd. And then we come, after February, we come to July, which caused you to come to court.
Yes.
So talk about July 17th.
Okay, so the kids are just picking on each other. My kids all day that day were just completely not able to ride their bikes down the street because their kids were just, picking on.
So you have kids and Ms. Knudsen has kids. Okay, yes. So how old are yours?
10, 12, 14.
Okay. Do you know how old Ms. Knudsen's are?
No, off the top of my head, I believe 10. And then the boy, I believe, is maybe 8. Not sure, totally.
Okay, all right. And so that day you said the kids were picking on each other. You mean your kids, her kids, they
Her
were picking
kids.
on each other?
Just wouldn't leave my kids alone. And I kept telling my
What does
kids,
that mean?
they
What were
wouldn't
they
let her,
doing?
at least my 10-year-old, she wouldn't let her go down the street on her bike. They kept screaming just strange stuff to them, inappropriate things.
How did you know this?
My girls came and told me.
Okay, so you.
And
you were told by your kids.
I've heard them do it before that. And so I just keep telling them, silly talk, ignore them.
Okay, so that's sometime on July 17th.
And prior to that, it's just been a long problem, but I just don't bother with it, just leave them alone. I did not confront anybody, actually. My roommate went out there and said, hey guys, this is what I was told. Hey guys, can you just leave Madeline alone?
So what do you know yourself, I guess? You know, not
I-
being told by someone, but what did you see?
I saw him go out there. I saw him go, can you just leave him alone? I see her running across the street. So I went out there.
Her is Miss Knudsen.
Miss Knudsen.
She's running across the
Street
street.
to my yard again.
But the front yard, the backyard?
Front yard.
Okay, so
She's screaming. I start screaming. I said, hey, no. And then she starts saying my kids didn't do anything. And I was like, your kids have been pretty much picking on Maddie all day. I said, they're being bullies. You're being a bully. Keep coming over here screaming at me in my yard. I don't go to your house. And then it got worse. It was a screaming match.
so what did she say? What did you say?
I said, you keep lying about me. You keep saying all this weird stuff about me. You need to knock it off. She called me dirty names, bitch. I think she called me a drug addict. Kind of don't remember much. I hadn't had a lot. Then she spits in my face. Just.
So how close was she, do you think?
She was about maybe a foot, 2 feet away.
So not maybe
She was like right
shorter
here.
than the width of that table that you're sitting
No,
at?
she was closer than
Where
that.
the computer screen is, kind of?
Yeah, about here.
Okay.
And then
so-
she was just there, and we were in my front yard again. Spits on me. I said, it's a felony. She don't fucking care. And swinging starts. She grabbed me by the hair. I grabbed her by the hair, trying to get her off me.
Swinging starts. What do you mean? So you get spit in the face. Did you swing? Did you respond?
She grabbed me by the hair and I swung.
Okay.
I don't know if I made contact. I think I did. Trying to get her out. I just trying to get her to let go of my hair. It became a hair pulling thing. I don't remember much about the hitting.
So
I
she
just know
spits, she grabs your hair,
right here.
and then you swing, and then
I
you
grabbed her by the
hair.
back of the hair and I tried to pull her off
Okay,
like this.
So now you're on
She's
each
got a
other.
hold of me like this. She pulled my hair out right here, a little bald spot. And she punched me a few times in the top of the head. I don't really remember the bruising part of the arms, actually. I don't remember how I was bleeding from this part of my arm. I really don't remember what her injuries would have been because I kind of freaked out. Let go of each other. She looks at me and she's like, I always defended you. And I was like, no, you're lying about me. And she told me I flipped off her kids. I said, no, I didn't. I said, you're lying. Kids are lying.
So the argument continues.
And then
even after
she
you let
goes,
go of each
I ought
other.
to slit your throat. I said, okay, that's threatening. I'm done. Went in the house, called the police. She's screaming down the street. She's calling the police. My neighbors already told me they didn't see some of it or how it started. So I don't know how many witnesses she can say she has. That's fine. The police show up. They asked me if I want to press charges. She has a job. She has children. I said no.
Okay.
I own my house.
So, but when she said, what did she say? I ought to slit your throat, or I will slit. What did she say? What did you hear?
I ought to slit your throat.
Okay. So, what did you
I
think
should
she was
slit your
just?
throat.
Do you think she was just talking, or did
But
you
she-
feel what? What did you think by that statement?
She threatened to burn my house down before that. Came at me with a golf club. Kind of believe and this is the first time she's physically ever, actually, probably has ever hit me or touched me. So yeah, kind of believed it. I'm more worried. I just actually don't want to interact. I just want her to stop coming over to my house and yelling at me, screaming at me, threatening me. That's it. I don't want to do anything else to her. I don't want to press charges. I don't want there to be any more problems. We coexisted, I believe, for at least, I think she's been there for 10 years. No problems. This is weird. It's insane. I've never had a problem with her. I don't. And there's been some, every normal issues of neighbors. Maybe we've had some issues, but we usually just separate. We're fine. This is very strange. And I don't go to her house. I don't go over there and start banging on her door and screaming at her. It's strange. And I understand maybe it's just, whatever's going on. That's why I don't want to press charges on her. She has an income. She takes care of her kids. She has a family. I don't want that.
So we included, let me ask you a few more questions here on that line. We included, or you asked us to include your kids in this order. And everybody lives on the same block and rides their
Yeah,
bikes.
we live
Do the kids kind of go to school in the same place too?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not worried about her kids or anybody else. I just want because she's usually the only one this keeps happening with. So I just thought we just can't talk to each other. That would be great. We just can't, go in contact. Kids are kids. Fine. I'm good. Just stop
Okay, so
doing
it's
this.
mostly
That's great.
Don't come to your house. Don't talk to you.
Just don't come
send
to my
anybody
house,
talk to
please.
you.
Stop screaming, over to me. I mean, the next day she was screaming, poor Maddie, poor Emily, my daughter's name's me. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
They offered to arrest her that day. And I said, no, I literally I want her to leave me alone. That's it.
All right.
That's all I asked for. I didn't want to get her in any other things. And then they just said, okay, we'll just go down and get an anti-arrest order. I said, thank you.
That was
all I'm trying to
that was
do.
the police that you talked to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I didn't notice the 1,000 distance.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then they amended it. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to get her not to be able to go home. Coexisting is nice. I really don't have a problem with them at all. They do what they do. It's fine. I've never felt threatened by them.
Okay.
They're fine.
So we said, all right, so this order says no harm from Ms.
Just her.
Knudsen to you and the kids, no contact, and do not enter your residence, don't come to your property.
I own it.
But-
It's okay. I don't need a landlord to do anything for it. I own the house. I own the property. So it's just me. I mean, I'm happy. Just stop coming over. Just stop, please.
And the kids, that's not an issue, is what
Just
I'm
the two
hearing
girls.
from you. You're just asking an order against Ms. Knudsen, not including your kids, because they're in
Just
the
my
same
actually
school.
my girls too, because they're kind of
Okay, so how would that work if they're all at the same school and people pick up and drop off and go? to
okay. So
events?
that was the one thing I was going to ask for amendment on is the school. I don't want to mess up her life. I think she's a fine person. She can go to the school. She can be around everybody. It's not that. It really isn't. I just wanted her to stop coming over and
Okay,
this happening. I don't want the physical stuff to happen. I've never been in a fight. I don't want to do that again. I feel really bad about the whole situation. I really do. And I'm so sorry if she could hear me. I really hope she can.
yeah.
That was horrible, really horrible. Didn't like it. And I just don't want it to happen again, especially around the kids. Kids all saw it. It's crazy.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, let me turn to Ms. Knudsen and hear from her about this order. And Ms. Knudsen, so we've heard a little bit more what the request is here, and you've seen the amended order, and it sounds like what's being asked is let me get to that portion of the order, that you exclude and stay away from from Ms. Chilson, you stay away from her residence. Not worried about the kids' school, and you have 3 kids listed here. You're just talking about the girl.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, my other son. I have a 20-year-old. That's what I was trying to say.
I have a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
Yes, my 20-year-old. He is a
I'm not worried about the 20-year-old. You have 3 children, and you just said you're girls.
Yes,
So
but
that's
my
only-
14-year-old is kind of
Connor's a girl.
Connor's a boy.
Okay, so do you care about the 14-year-old to be in this petition?
Yes, that'd be fine.
So you mean your 2 girls, Emily and Madeline, and Connor?
Yes, I just figured I'd put the minor children. The adult child doesn't need to be involved in.
Yeah, he could deal with himself. So, all right. Well, Ms. Knudsen, what would you like to say about all these allegations and what they do?
Going back to the December 3rd incident, I have security cameras at the time that were rolling that captured the entire incident. And while, yes, I did jump over her fence, that was to go retrieve my husband. And yes, there were some choice words exchanged between her.
Tell me what happened. You say you retrieved your husband. What happened on December 30th?
There has been, she had her brother living with her at her home or staying with her temporary, whatever the situation may have been. He was a person who under my
Tell me
understanding.
what happened with your husband? Why was he there and why
So-
did you have to retrieve him?
So there was a known tweaker vehicle driving down our road, constantly going to her home. On this particular evening, we witnessed that individual and her brother-in-law or brother, whatever he is, exchange some kind of material that fell on the ground. They retrieved it, whatever. It is a known drug truck that has gone through the town. Everyone knows who this vehicle belongs to.
So what happened?
So then my
To your
husband, he was angry about this, that there was drugs going on next door to us. So he went over and was like, you need to stop this, put an end to it. We all have kids here. Take it somewhere else. This obviously.
Uh-oh. Ms. Knutson, if you can hear us, your camera's frozen.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
All right, you're back. You're back. I can hear you now.
The Wi-Fi.
So your husband goes over and he's mistaken about what's happened. It was a DoorDash thing. And
it wasn't a DoorDash though, because I have it all on my cameras that wasn't a DoorDash. So there was some choice words of them screaming at each other about drugs and blah, blah. She's trying to say it's a DoorDash. It's not a DoorDash. She tried to show us something. There was no food that she was showing us, just a piece of paper from standing back.
So then your husband's over there and you're hearing.
I'm hearing
something
him from my porch yelling. I'm
Right.
on my back porch and I'm trying
And
to
then
yell.
why
at him.
did you get involved? Why
I
did
went
you get
over
in-
there to go get him, to tell him to knock it off, to come home.
Okay.
Essentially, it
And
was
how
like,
did that-
let they come
and
home.
how did that go? What did you do? You
It was
went over
like a
the fence.
30-second ordeal of us screaming at each other, knock it off, knock it off. I'm not doing this. Yes, you are, kind of deal. I never threatened to burn her house down, especially with her children in it. As she said herself, I'm a mother myself. I'm not here to threaten any harm to any children. So we took him home and the police showed up. We showed the police officers our footage of what transpired and everything. Showed that it wasn't a DoorDash driver, they knew which vehicle it was also that pulled down that road and stopped there. And then it was just okay, we'll just don't engage with them, leave it alone. Officers went about their way, and then there was no other incident ever again until within, I think, a month and a half ago of the dog issue.
Right.
And
I think that was sometime in May or somewhere around there.
it had to be probably more June. I think school was about to get out. So still early June, maybe late May. Yeah.
Okay. What happened then?
So my kids were outside playing. She has a pit bull that is pretty unruly, that they have to chase down the road multiple times, run after. Haven't had to do it for quite some time, especially since I yelled at him. But the dog came into my yard and went after my daughter, and she had cowboy boots on. Thankfully, it bit her ankle, and I had randomly, I don't know why, there was like 3 golf clubs on my porch, but I grabbed the golf club to walk up, and because my dog and this dog were in the scuffle of it at the time, to like get in between them, break them up. The dog then jumped over our fence, went through our back alley and jumped over her broken fence and back into her yard. And I watched the dog run into her back sliding glass door. And so by the time I had walked around, still with the golf club, because my adrenaline was wondering where the dog is, knocked on the door, told her that if her dog ever comes in my yard again, I will shoot it and to keep it in the house. I didn't threaten. She's like, get rid of your weapon. I threw.
Oh no. You froze again. We're gonna hope you come back. There you are again. Okay, so your golf club in hand. You said if it ever comes back, you're gonna shoot the dog.
Yeah.
And then
she said, you have a weapon in your hand, put your weapon down. I threw the golf club down on the ground, which is probably still in her yard at this point. Because I was like, I'm not using this golf club to threaten you. I had it in my hand still because my adrenaline was rushing, breaking up this dog fight and whatnot. And then ever since, I've never seen the dog in. There was no.
Okay, the connection's lost again. We'll wait for it to come back, I hope.
Sorry. It's a black hole.
There we go.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
awful.
All right. So that, I understand your point of view. Whoop, we've lost her altogether.
I
Ms.
know.
Knutson, you there?
I'm trying.
Maybe it would, yeah.
It says the host has stopped your video.
I can hear you. And
there we go.
There I can see you. Okay. So how about, let's talk about, you think the next event was July 17th?
The next event would have been the 17th of July. Earlier, I had the entire day off randomly. I always work about 10 to 4 o'clock on Wednesdays, but for some reason I randomly had the day off. Late that morning, probably about 10 to 11:30, I leave my front doors open when I'm home during the day. We leave airflow going. She drove by my house. We are on a dead end. There's 4 houses and I'm at the stop sign. And she stopped her car to line up with my porch and my front door. And she flipped my 10-year-old daughter off who was standing in the doorway and called her a little bitch and then drove off. I told my kids, don't engage with her, leave them alone, ignore them, do not even have contact, don't talk to them, just let it go. Went about the day fine. My kids hadn't interacted with her at all. We had gone grocery shopping. We'd been out of the house for majority of the day. My husband returned home probably about 4 o'clock. He's a heavy equipment operator, so he brought his truck and mini excavator home. And so we unloaded the equipment, and for about 3 hours, we sat there on the equipment in our backyard, digging out our fire pit, our garden beds, and then just letting the kids play on it. I parked the machine at our neighbor's house directly across from us and was about to get off of it when her roommate Eric came out yelling at my kids. And I turned the machine off, pulled the arm up to put it in park and get off of it. And by that time, Rachel's also coming out of her house, screaming and yelling that my children were sexually assaulting her children and that they need to leave them alone. So I got off the truck or the excavator. There were some choice names that probably aren't appropriate to repeat in here said. I never went into her yard. I stayed at, we have a corner fence. I stayed at the corner of the fence on my side, like in the front. We're still in like the road. And choice words were exchanged. We got to the point of where I said, you initiated this entire problem today by driving past my house and flipping my daughter off and calling her a little bitch. And she said, do you want to see me flip someone off? And she shoved her middle finger into my face and hit me in the face. And that is when I then turned, spit on her. And then we each grabbed each other's hair and blows started to go.
Okay. So you said you never came onto her property, but she was that close to you. Can you tell me how that works?
Like we were in the street, kind of like street, like the easement of our road kind of deal.
All right. So there wasn't a fence or anything between you. You were in the
no, we were just like
area
in front of my fence kind of deal.
All right.
She had hit me in the face by flipping me off that way. And the blows just transpired. I told her to go sit down, go in the house, go call the cops. She went and sat on her front porch and called the police officers. And then within 10 minutes, they were there. And I talked to one officer, she talked to the other. The officer I talked to took pictures of all of my injuries and determined that from my story and her story that I acted in self-defense because she had put her hands on me.
I can't consider anything that someone who's not here in court.
Understandable.
Cross-examine, and I understand you thinking. All right, so this hair pulling. What about this allegation that you said I ought to slit your throat after all this hair pulling and this?
I did not say that.
Okay.
I would not have said those choice of words. Those are not my choice of words. There were plenty of other things I would have said, but that's not what I said.
I should have pressed
Right.
charges.
So, okay, let's see if I got. Do you all agree that there was an assault to each other? How it started is in disagreement. What was said is in disagreement. And then Ms. Chilson calls the police, they appear, and I don't think I've got anything.
I should have pressed charges.
And so, all right.
I mean, I want to make it very clear that I also want no other further problems whatsoever. Like she says, we've lived next to each other. I moved in December 13th of 2013 and she was already there. And I plan to not have any other ever again interactions with her, ever.
And you've got a couple of kids?
Yes, I do. I have a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son.
And they all play on the street and go to the same school with?
Yep, they ride the bus. In fact, our daughters were in the same 4th grade class together.
Okay. And, all right. And so, all right. Well, let me see if I have any further questions of you before I move on.
I was very wrong for not pressing charges.
All right, so it's not a good neighbor situation, it sounds like. And so unfortunately, so Ms. Chilson, because of the rules that I have to follow, I can't consider that handwritten note from Mr. Barnett.
That's fine.
Because it's not under penalty of perjury, and therefore then I have to consider he's not here then, you
That's
know,
okay.
and I can't evaluate his credibility and can't be cross-examined and that sort of thing. So I really can't consider what's in there against Ms. Knudsen. And then when I hear from both of you, you're both credible, you're both believable. I don't know what happened, but it sounds like
I did not hear first.
but it sounds like there was a mutual event. There's, you know, who do
I was trying.
I'm not asking you to comment. I'm not finding that there's enough evidence to issue this order against Ms. Chilson, against Ms. Knudsen. But I think this has been pretty darn instructive. Now you got kids who go to the same school. You're all going to go to events. You're all going to maybe pick up, drop off. You're all going to be at the school, the bus stop, whatever. So there's, you know, neither one of you wants anything to do with each other. When I issue an order, we have to be kind of careful because someone can go to jail if they violate it. Now, I see that there's been a lot back and forth. So I can't issue this order finding that there's any more unlawful harassment committed by Ms. Knudsen than against Ms. Chilson or Ms. Chilson against Ms. Knudsen. So going forward though, sounds like stay on everybody's side of the fence, tell your husband to stay on his side of the fence. You know, self-help, that's not it. If someone thinks there's something going wrong in the neighborhood, then you call the cops. You don't do self-help. And you don't grab hair and you don't assault each other and you don't cause bruises and you don't do all that. So maybe, unfortunately, you know, the cops sent you here, Ms. Chilson, and sometimes that can solve it, but this really isn't something I can issue an order on. Now, I hope nothing else happens, but this will be considered in relationship to that if anything else happens. But don't talk to each other. Obviously, neither one of you wants anything to do with the other. And so I'm denying that order at this stage. So that's it. Ms. Knudsen and Ms. Chilson, I'll write an order to that effect. And that's all for today. I'm sorry that you're so aggrieved, but I have to go by the law and the evidence. So you can both be on your way if you like.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
So long.